Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the GoudaGP podcast. Today, we'll be predicting the 2025 Austrian Grand Prix. I'm Bradley, and I'm joined by Billy. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. How's it going?
Yeah, pretty good. Excited for this week. Austria threw up a lot of excitement last year, obviously, with that collision late on between Max and Lando. So we're hoping for, once again, another good weekend.
I mean, if we can get more of that, why not? Let's get it.
Give us something to talk about at the very least.
It'd be 2 for 2 if Lando's involved again, wouldn't it? Two in a
Well,
row.
yeah. You know how I like going on about Lando.
Well, yeah, I'm sure you've got some words about him today.
Right. Anyway, shall we get straight into it? I'll let you start with your shock Q1 exit.
I have gone for Oliver Behrman. Now, I think the Haas is going to be quite draggy this weekend, and we're not going to see a great performance from either Haas car. But I do think Oliver Behrman's more likely to fall at the first hurdle. Esteban Ocon's been on form recently, picking up points here and there, and I think he's going to bring that into this weekend. He seems like he's just keeping it rolling, and I don't think this weekend's going to be any different, even with the car being a bit more difficult and maybe not suited to the track. So Oliver Behrman is my choice for shock Q1 exit.
Interesting one. I mean, given, Austria's typically been quite a happy hunting ground for the Haas team, they've had consistently solid results here. So it's interesting to see that. We'll obviously have to wait and see. For me, I've gone for Yuki Tsunoda. Yes. So my logic behind that really is margins are going to be tight round Austria. It's a short track. There's the field spread is always quite tight, and when you're as far off Verstappen consistently that the second Red Bull seat has been, it is a big risk that and a logical conclusion to come to that Yuki will get knocked out in Q1. I think not necessarily due to anything wrong, other than a lack of pace, just purely based on the fact the margins are tight and he can't get away with it like he maybe can at other tracks.
Well, I mean, I've got to admit here, when I was looking at my choices for this weekend, Yuki was actually my second pick. Like I was actually more likely to pick Yuki over Esteban this weekend. Obviously, because both Haas drivers were available to pick. It does seem just kind of written in the stars that Yuki could go out in Q1 at the Red Bull Ring, but that second car just seems more and more difficult to drive. And one thing someone at work actually mentioned to me, I've got a little F1 group forming at work now. I get to have a little bit of gossip about it. One thing he did mention, which I do agree, the more they get in further into the season, the more they adapt the setup, maybe put some more upgrades on it to make it work for Max, make it sharper. And as the season goes on, I believe Albon actually reported that as more upgrades get put on and the setup gets improved on more and more, that car gets sharper and sharper across the year. And if you can't keep up with it, getting used to it, that's when you see the shocking end to the seasons that you have seen out of these second Red Bull drivers, if they even get there, of course. And for Yuki to kind of jump in before without a pre-season and have to get used to the sharpness already behind. And I do believe there'll be some sort of upgrade as they normally do for the Red Bull Ring, but I don't know for certain. I haven't seen any reports. I think Yuki's a brilliant shout.
Yeah. Moving on to pole. I've gone pretty boring, pretty basic. I've gone for Lando Norris. Again, Lando tends to perform well here. I mean, we saw, get his first podium here, perform really well here, and obviously was in the shout for the win last year. I'm expecting him to be quick, and with the car he's got at his disposal, I'm expecting him to have the upper hand on his teammate this weekend and be able to nick pole. I expect it to be tight like it always has been this season, but it has been, one that I expect Lando to come out on top through this weekend.
Well, it looks like no one's gaining points for pole position because I've also chosen Lando Norris. I think he comes into this weekend with something to prove. And at a track that has been a happy stomping ground for him, like you mentioned, first podium here, fighting for the win last year. He always has something to show off around here, and with the crash 2 weeks ago in Canada, I'll get my words right eventually. He's got a lot to prove, and when he's at a track that he's confident at, we've seen when he's confident, he absolutely flies. And I think confidence is going to push him with a lot of ambition. And yeah, pole position. It'll be tight, but I think he's going to get it.
Yeah, I mean, look, prediction championship is also quite tight at the minute. Us matching there keeps it close. Even if other things go different people's way this weekend, if we match points there, it will keep it close.
All right, should we move on to the podium?
I will let you lead onto your podium.
Right, I'll start with P3. For P3, I've gone for Oscar Piastri. Now, I do think last year Lando was a bit in a league of his own compared to Piastri. Around here, of course, Piastri did end up getting second thanks to the crash between Lando and Verstappen. So, obviously, not awful around this track, and I think he's pretty decent, but Lando definitely has the edge on him. And I do think he'll do well. Obviously, he stepped up this year. I don't think he can be ever counted out, but I just don't see McLaren getting that 1-2 this weekend, and I'm banking on Lando to be the better performer. So Piastri's P3 for me. For Verstappen, for my P2. Max always shows up around the Red Bull Ring. I mean, he gets brought on by his fans. It's a track that suits him. I mean, he's always got his name in the hat around here, and I think this year's going to be no different. P2, he's going to give everything he can to Lando Norris, but I do think Lando Norris will hold off and convert that pole position to a win and maybe re-kickstart that championship charge that he wanted so much at the start of the year.
Interesting. It seems our podium will have quite a big swing. We've matched P3. I've gone for Oscar Piastri. Like you say, McLaren, strong car, expecting Oscar to perform well, just slightly not have the pace of his teammate. Lando, I am expecting to get P2 this weekend. He's known for bottling things that he should be winning, and I expect no different this weekend. And, you know, he'll probably lose the lead off the start, try and have a go at Max, lock up, run wide, lose a few seconds, and that'll be the end of that battle. And from there, it will be an easy win for Max. He performs well around here. You know, the fans love him here. I'm expecting a fairly comfortable drive to victory for Max this weekend. Not getting any penalty points and thus escaping a race ban. But yeah, I just don't think Lando has the fortitude required to not bottle. I mean, how many weekends this season have we been talking about him failing in what is essentially the easiest chance he will ever have to win a world title, to fight a teammate that's less experienced as him, has less time in the team as him. He is the team leader, and what he's doing is throwing it all in the bin. So that's why I don't think he'll win this weekend. He'll get P2, have to gain a few points on Oscar, but given the points he lost last week through his own stupid decisions, it won't be enough. So yeah, that's my podium, and that is quite the swing. If one of us gets it right and the other one doesn't, that's a 4-point swing.
I just want to circle back to your point on Lando, and I kind of want to compare him to another sportsman, another English sportsman, but basically what I'm seeing in Lando is kind of, he came into the start of the year in Australia, he was bookie's favourite, he had all the media telling him, asking him, are you going to be world champion this year? And that gave him so much confidence. You could see he had a bit of an ego, but he was controlling it better than he did last year, when he was kind of in the situation of, he could get the title. And we saw what he did in Australia. He looked so assured of himself. He was quick. He had the measure on Oscar. They were close, don't get me wrong, but he had the measure on them. And yeah, we saw a very confident driver, very sure driver. And we came out of that one going, wow, is Lando going to dominate this year? We'll see where it goes. And then obviously one bad race turned into 2 bad races. Mediocre races just kept coming. We've had a big profile mistake, probably his biggest profile mistake last weekend in Canada. And you've got to wonder, if he doesn't get this confidence back, where's he going to finish in this championship? Because I don't think it's going to even be P2. if he doesn't get his confidence back. And I'm kind of drawing similar similarities to being a United fan. I've seen this story over and over again. Harry Maguire. If you watch the first game of Harry Maguire at United, he had a very, very good game. He's just come from Leicester. He signed for 80 million. He had a ton of confidence. Came into it, did well. He turned one bad game into two bad games, mediocre games. He became a meme, and you had people calling him out for it. And he's not that good anymore. Not worth 80 million. And I'm just, there's so, like, the way that I've just set up those two storylines, they are very similar. And you've got to say, if Lando can't turn it around now, he can't make it any worse for himself. He needs to get in there as soon as possible before it's too late. Because if he picks himself back up with like 5 rounds to go, that's too late. He needs to do it now if he wants any chance of winning that title. And it's like you say, Bradley, it's probably his best chance he's going to get, because if the regulations change and that McLaren isn't up there, when's the next time he's going to be up front? And if he looks back on his career in 5 years and he hasn't had the car since, he'll be really kicking himself that he couldn't get a hold of himself. So he needs to sort this out now, for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely, I agree. I will lead on to, well, I say I will lead on to, I think it's pretty clear where we're both going with this prediction. Best Constructor. It didn't actually pay off last week, but this weekend it will. McLaren will get Best Constructor. I'm sure you've put that down as well.
Yep.
Can you just confirm that?
I did.
Yep, okay, so we'll move swiftly on. Wonderful. We'll move swiftly on to Driver of the Day. I have picked... Again, I've done quite boring. I've done for Max Verstappen, race winner. Expecting it to be quite a comfortable, dominant drive, and I think, especially given where it is, Austria, loads of Max fans, probably angling more for the popularity vote than a stunning drive. But definitely one I feel that could work in my favour this weekend.
Well, I don't think there's going to be too much of a swing away from the podium points for the Prediction Championship this weekend, but I've also picked Max Verstappen. Obviously, like I mentioned, for the podium, he has always got something to say around the Red Bull Ring, and no matter where he starts, I can see him getting up there, but I do think he'll start up front anyway. Like you say, if he wins the popularity contest, then that's a point anyway. So I've got the double back, but I truly think he's going to get this one on merit. He's going to give Lando everything he can handle, and I think Lando's just going to have the car to keep Verstappen behind. But I think we're going to be treated to some action up front.
Hopefully, it would be nice to see, especially after Canada. Canada was sort of a slow burner that never really, burnt out. I mean, look, I've said enough analogies about the Canadian Grand Prix, as I'm sure people have said on the TikTok. Hopefully a good race weekend, and then obviously the week after, Silverstone. Will be an interesting one to react to, given we both won't really see too much, given we'll both be there. So we'll try and figure that out, because obviously I've got to do it pretty sharpish. So that will be an interesting one to react to. We will try our best for that one, but do expect on the various social medias our views and sort of POV, obviously at Silverstone. That'll be something to look forward to. For this weekend, we are just watching it at home, unfortunately, but it just makes the excitement for Silverstone even more. If you get what I mean.
Definitely. I mean, I'm counting down the minutes.
I mean, you do have a countdown on your phone.
I do have a countdown on my phone, but to be fair, it's because of my HR app on through work, and that is my next day off. So it wasn't voluntary, but I do have the countdown on my phone.
Yes, but looking forward to it. It will be good
for sure. Just before we finish the podcast, I would like to say we have, of course, like Bradley just said, we've got the TikTok going and started. If you want to go check out some content on there, we don't just upload clips. We got some got some memes in there. We've got some games that we're playing. We've got a bit of everything. We're just trying a load of stuff. So if you want to hear more of our opinions, maybe some more stuff just to kind of do with F1, maybe you haven't got your fix fully through the podcast, go check us out on TikTok, GoudaGP. We're also on YouTube now as well, so you can watch this podcast and watch us talk about it properly. Maybe you want to see us talking rather than just listen. YouTube is where you will find that, which is also GoudaGP. All right, I believe that's everything for now.
All right, wonderful. Just following on from that, of course, like you say, any questions you might have, the easiest way probably at the minute to get in contact with us is through the social media. So, leave a comment on a TikTok video, leave a comment on YouTube, whatever. Ask a question. If, obviously I'm running the TikTok at the minute, I'll try and reply either with a video, depending on the question, or just, as a comment. If it's a question for Billy, I'll get him to record a video or something,
I'll keep an eye on
or get him on there. I was going to say, I'm sure you don't want to just be listening to my voice all the time on the TikTok. But there we go. Other than that, that is the Austrian Grand Prix of 2025, all predicted. Next time you hear from us, we'll be reacting to the Austrian Grand Prix, where hopefully we will have lots to talk about, lots to discuss, hopefully less controversy and more just excitement about a thrilling race. I'm sure you agree with that, Billy.
Yeah, let's actually get some on-track action, please. I mean, don't get me wrong, the crash was great, but I want to see good overtakes. I want to see close fights. Fight for the win? Maybe. I mean, I don't want to act spoiled.
Keeping everything crossed.
Don't act spoiled or anything, but a fight
no,
for the win
I mean honestly, but yeah, no. Yes, hopefully. And with that, thank you for listening or watching or however you're consuming this content. It's been wonderful. We'll see you next time. Have a good day.
Have we started recording yet?
Welcome back to the GoudaGP podcast.